hell of an opportunity to play in the NFL, and that is Colin Kaepernick, seemingly out of the blue. It's going to be what amounts to a combine for one player. Reportedly, 32 teams plan to visit Atlanta to see Colin Kaepernick work out. He has been out of the league since 2016 when he initiated a protest against systemic racial injustice. NFL media found out about the workout yesterday. It appears that Colin Kaepernick found out about it as well. He tweeted this: "I'm just getting word from my representatives that the NFL league office reached out to them about a workout in Atlanta on Saturday. I've been in shape and ready for this for 3 years. Can't wait to see the head coaches and GMs on Saturday." Let's welcome in NFL Network insider Ian Rapoport, as well as Steve Wyche. Steve has been following this story since Colin initially decided to protest systemic racial injustice. He was the very first person on the scene. Ian, from the league's point of view, this workout comes Saturday in Week 11 in November. What are we learning about, and what do we know about the timing here, and whose idea was it?
It sounds like this has been something that has been discussed at league levels really for some time, and from my understanding, this really is about giving Colin Kaepernick an opportunity to work out in front of all 32 teams, which of course he has sought. He has said very publicly, despite a lot of people questioning him, that he wants to play, he is in shape, he wants to be back in the NFL, and he is ready to do so, and essentially what the NFL is doing, with some influence from Jay-Z, by the way, who I know is a partner with the league now on some social justice initiatives, basically saying, here is a workout. And there were teams that inquired with the league, talked to them, were sniffing around, possibly bringing Colin Kaepernick in. Obviously, the Seahawks did a couple of years ago before ultimately deciding against it. They had questions. Were they allowed to work him out with the settlement of the collusion lawsuit? Obviously, they were, but teams still had questions. This is basically the NFL saying, here's a workout. Here's the opportunity to do it. Obviously, all 32 teams, you hope, would be there. We'll see what the actual numbers are. It is also worth mentioning, Steve, this is not part of the Colin Kaepernick settlement. A workout is not something he requested. It was not part of the terms. This is completely separate for that. And, Patrick, you mentioned the combine-style workout. It actually will be run by Jeff Foster, who runs the combine. There's going to be measurement, testing, timing, quarterback drills, and an interview starting off everything.
Yeah, Ian, there are also going to be some former head coaches, some former NFL coaches helping run this. We don't know who the receivers are, who some of the other participants. We'll hopefully find that out as we get closer. But let's unpack a couple of things here, because some questions I had for the league were, why now? Week 11, why on a Saturday? So here's what I was told. Week 11, it stems from several teams calling the NFL saying, hey, what is Kaepernick's readiness? We want to take a look at him. The league telling those teams, bring him in. But those teams saying they were not going to bring them in. So the league, in kind of throwing those teams some cover, said, you know what, we're going to have a 32-team workout. We're going to do this for you. We're going to pay for this so everyone can get a look at him. If you don't have a representative there, and even if you do, we're going to film the workout, and we are going to film an interview, and it's going to be ready for you Saturday evening. Okay, as for it being on a Saturday, we know that some people are scratching their heads because, you know, that's when teams travel. That's when a lot of the general managers and scouting people are scouting college players. I was told by a team executive that Saturday actually works better than a Tuesday, which is NFL off day, because they can get at least an area scout there. They can't get coaches or general managers there, but they can get their area scouts. And this team said he will have a representative at Kaepernick's workout there on a Saturday. As to why not a Tuesday, they said that's when the team officials are working out, be it linemen, whatever, to bring in a sign right away because of injuries and whatnot. Kaepernick could have gone in then, but this is what I was told. And also coaches, they can't do it because they're planning the practice plan for the whole week. Now, what this team executive said also is that his team is looking at Kaepernick not for immediacy. Okay, they're looking at him to do some research to see if maybe they want to bring him in the offseason. And he also said that's what he's assuming a lot of these other teams are doing. This is more an investigative process to see where he is physically, to see where he is mentally. And Ian, I have also been told as part of the interview that Kaepernick and his representatives have been given carte blanche to determine some of the questions that he would like to answer, and that they can control the narrative of some of the things he would like these teams to know so they can have more interest, so they can answer some of the questions that maybe some of them won't ask in person or submit to the league for this video interview.
And Steve, one might imagine that Kaepernick might have a question for the teams as well, especially those teams that, as you reported, were interested in signing him, but then made a request to the league. Ian, if a team was interested in signing Colin Kaepernick, why would they seek what seems like permission from the NFL in order to bring him in?
Well, the collusion lawsuit is obviously something that was well publicized, and teams, despite us saying it many, many times, teams were not barred from working out or for signing Colin Kaepernick, but perhaps what a lot of teams do is they check with the league first and say, am I allowed to do this before doing it? But obviously, Patrick, that is not all we're talking about. Teams so often just decide, rather than bring in a player who at this point would probably be a backup, especially when you consider he has not played in 3 years. A lot of times they decide to go with the option that brings the least publicity, the least media circus, for lack of a better word. We have seen teams make these kinds of decisions a lot of times over the course of the past couple of years, and any team that is going to work out or have a visit from or visit with Colin Kaepernick is going to get a lot of publicity. It sounds like teams were hoping that there would not be publicity, and so maybe by surrounding them with all the other teams who don't want to sign Kaepernick, that maybe this provides some cover. Not that that's good at all anyway.
Yeah, exactly, Ian. Look, to the point that the skeptic and all of us have about all of this, the timing, why now, I asked someone from the league, is this a PR stunt? Is this any way to try to generate some type of public relations to clear the league, whatever? And I was told, why would we, as a league, take an issue that has been, for the most part, dormant, and nobody was talking about that, and interject it after a great Week 10 that ended with that fantastic Monday Night Football game that precedes a great Week 11 when you've got Lamar Jackson facing, Deshaun Watson? Why would we interject that right now? This simply is a matter of trying to clearing up this matter so teams can get a look at Kaepernick, whether it is for the immediate term or for the long term, and because Kaepernick's representative sent a note out to all 32 teams saying Kaepernick is ready. Here's some of the myths that you've heard. Here's some of the realities of it. So if you want to see him, come take a look at him. And like I mentioned before, some of the teams didn't want to bring him in, maybe because of the distraction, whatever. So the league is saying, here it is. We'll set it up. We'll pay for it. There's no excuses. If you want to sign him, you want to look at him, whatever, it is all right here for you. And for Colin Kaepernick, it's up to you to have the type of workout and to have the type of interview that could elicit interest that could possibly get him at least into a training camp where he can show himself there.
And in terms of eliciting those questions, Steve, as to why would the NFL bring this sort of attention, the way that these circumstances have played out since 2016, they lend those questions, right? The atmosphere leads to those questions. We're all just trying to figure out why any of this is happening, and perhaps we will have an answer, at least more of an answer than we have now, coming up on Saturday.